Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Pocket Change Market Report. This is for July 11th, 2020. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Yeah, we got a lot to talk about because of a certain coin shortage. Maybe you guys have heard about it. All of a sudden, the demand for errors and varieties, especially trying to locate them through the means of going through bankrolls, they call it coin roll hunting, has never been higher. Okay, I have seen and listened to all of the just comments that people are talking about, not only in this video, but also on Facebook, on the forum chat pages. It's all over the news. And if you haven't been to the bank, actually inside the lobby here in the last like 30 days, yeah, it's kind of crazy. People are asking you for rolled coins because they can't order them. They would order from the Federal Reserve Bank. I actually talked to a manager about this, and they would just straight up deny the order. They're like, sorry, can't do anything there, Johnny. But anyways, the Pocket Change Market Report is going to bring to you 30 coins that were sold on eBay in the past 48 hours, and oh my goodness, a lot of great stuff to talk about. If you're looking to get into the sport, the hobby of searching through your change or bankrolls for some pretty neat errors and varieties, and this is probably your spot. So while you're at it, you might as well hit that subscribe button, hit the like button if you enjoyed today's content. Feel free to share it, save it into a playlist, whatever floats your motorboat. But yeah, if this is your first time here, okay, we talk about all of the notable raw sales for errors and varieties that people are coming across in change. And we use strictly raw eBay photos from the sellers. The only modifications I do on them, I do a little crop job. I made them together, so that way you see the obverse and the reverse of the coin on one shot. Generally, I like to do that. And most importantly, none of the coins are going to be graded unless specified, okay? Because the big idea here is to find these coins and then turn around and sell them, all right? So once you find them, you can either keep them for your collection, which a lot of people do, or people kind of like to flip them and make money, all right? If you're going to be going through rolls of dimes, quarters, half dollars, looking for silver, you might as well enhance the experience a little bit and try and find some of these errors and varieties, and that's what people are doing. And by the end of the video, if you're new here, maybe this will give you a little incentive to check things out. Okay, there's a lot of different things to look for, and hopefully I'm going to scratch a little bit of the surface to help along. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and jump in and see how crazy this week's PCMR report is going to look like. And we're going to go ahead and start her off here with the first coin. This is a 1944 P. Jefferson nickel. This one, as you guys know, was produced during the World War II silver coinage era for the nickels. The U.S. Mint had converted over to a nickel composition to silver to save up more of that composition for the war efforts. Alright, so this one right here is in pretty rough shape. Okay, it's got a little bit of damage. You can see kind of like this little wheel mark or whatever this is here on the obverse. But that's not the most important part about the coin. Alright, it's got all of this flaking metal coming off. They call this lamination. What it really is it's a improper alloy mix within these particular compositions. Real common to find during this silver wartime era of nickel, which spans from 42 to 45. But this one right here is sold for $7, where customarily it would just be a $2 coin, all right, based off of the composition and the intrinsic value of the silver. So if you do come across stuff like this and just regular scrap silver, I'm happy to say that you have something a little bit better than just silver value. So keep that in mind as you go through those. Alright, so our first, I would say, more modern coin on the list is this 2018 D Lincoln Shield Set. Oh yes, this is a coin that has kind of plagued our just general coin landscape. The shield nickel is either a love it or hate it design, alright? But the Denver minted coins for the longest time, since 2010, at the inception of these new reverse designed coins, have gone unloved. All right, there's really not a whole lot of varieties to look for, but because of an eagle eye collector, someone had discovered a really cool variety on the 2018 Denver Shield Sense, and it's going to be this doubled earlobe that you see here. This is a coin that I have searched and hunted. I've had great success finding these, and I sold a whole bunch of them for a while for 15 bucks a piece. All right, so not a bad flip at all. This particular example is actually a Wexler's double die. Okay, so it's been anointed as a significant double die for the date. This is 001, and this one sold for $13.20. Pretty nice coin. For those of you on the West Coast, make sure you look out for these. There's also a doubled ear on the 2019 D as well. Alright, off-center struck coins have long been a favorite in the error community. Alright, so the one of the key factorizations in the value of an off-center coin, whatever it may be, is that you're able to see a full readable date. Alright, so we all know this one's a 1980. It is a Philadelphia struck coin. You can see the mint mark visibly underneath the date. And this is probably one of your more tougher dates, just based off of the actual amount of money it's sold for. A little word of kind of like photography skill setup is that when you're photographing coins, if you have them in these cardboard 2x2 holders, you want to make sure you take them out of there. This one looks okay, but you'll tend, if you look on the reverse image, you'll see some of the reflection coming off of the plastic film, and it'll overlap onto the coin, sometimes obscuring some pretty important devices or pickup points on the coin, especially when you get into varieties. But this one right here sold for $77.20. A really cool looking coin. It looks uncirculated to an extent. The likelihood that these generally come out of circulation in a roll or something is pretty difficult, only because the coin has been stretched out well beyond the actual tolerances of what a nickel size should be. But nonetheless, this is a really cool coin with a fully visible, readable date, and it brought home a ton of money. All right, it's not typical, but keep that in mind if you come across these. All right, so this one coin right here generally has confused other people into thinking that it is an off-center type error, like the nickel that we saw previous. But as you can see, we have full rims and full devices all the way around. All right, so what this one is here is it is called an uncentered broad strike. All right, a broad strike occurs when a coin is being minted with the absence of the collar, or maybe one side of the collar is missing, or whatever the case may be. No collar means that the metal will stretch out beyond the actual tolerated size of the nickel or quarter or $half or whatever coin that is being broad struck. As you can see, this one right here, because of the great and outstanding comparison photos to a quarter, yeah, it is about the size of a quarter. All right, so maybe you might find these in a quarter roll. I have found a few broad struck coins in the past, and generally they will show up in higher denomination rolls. All right, like a nickel would show up in a quarter roll, a dime would show up in a penny roll. You get the big picture. So it's kind of like the one size up from there. But this one's really cool. This one right here sold for $51.25. It's quite a bit of money. Yeah, it sure is. And, you know, again, keep an eye out for things that look like this. You would be surprised at what the secondary market value will bring. All right, another off-center coin, this time a 2001, a more modern date coin right here. This one is in generally nice condition, probably a mint state 64 red. As you can see, problem-free, very nice coin. Again, this would appeal more to the off-center type error collectors, which it's actually a right good size base. This one right here, I would say, is a great candidate for such a collection because it has a fully readable date. But in any event, and I would say it's about 15% off-center. This one right here is sold for $14.60. An affordable type, for sure. So, and it is still about the size of a regular penny. So these do come up infrequently in change and rolls. So keep that in mind. All right, so we got a 64 Kennedy half dollar. Of course, it's a 90% silver. All right, so oftentimes these would be pulled aside, put into a group of other silvers, and if you don't look hard enough, you'll never know that this one has a nice shallow rim clip right here, along with a little bit of Blakesley effect here. The pictures in hindsight aren't all that wonderful. The coin is kind of giving off this look that it has been cleaned, only because it's dark in appearance. It looks a little bit shiny in certain areas. Generally, these coins, when they're brilliant, uncirculated, fresh from a roll, will have that satiny appearance. And they will stay that way even throughout circulation, but it's only when you clean the things that it begins to give off this kind of appearance. So let's assume that the coin probably might have been cleaned at one point with the rim clip. How much did this one sell for? $15.99 is what it brought, which is effectively 3 times the actual silver melt value of the coin. All right, so keep that in mind. If you have a nice good stack of silver scrap that's 90% stuff, take a quick close look, because even a little rim clip or a little die break or some struck through grease action on there, and you have a coin that's probably worth many times more than what the silver value is. I do that all the time, and I come away a winner every time I come across something like this. So keep that in mind. I came across this one, and I was like, wow, that's a pretty interesting way of kind of showing a coin with rotated dies. So this one right here is a 1999 Delaware State Quarter. It's a Denver struck coin. Now, what the seller did, and you guys could kind of take a little bit of a lesson or a cue on this one, is that this individual actually used these crosshairs in conjunction with taking the entire reverse picture of the coin with these staples, which indicate that this is a north, south, east, west position of the flip. But you can see that this one is rotated clockwise 45 degrees. This is significant. Not a lot of people take the time to flip all their coins around while they're hunting to look for things like this. Rotated dies generally have gone on to be one of those coins that not a lot of people are paying attention to, and that's unfortunate because there's a lot of value wrapped up in these type of errors. Now, because this one has a nice sizable 45-degree rotation, it did sell for $24.75. So that would be a lot of money regardless for a coin of this ilk. Definitely, if you have the time, because coins are few and far between out there in the banking system today because of the shortage, that it would probably be a good idea to flip over each coin on its axis to see if there is any rotation. Coins with a rotation as low as like 30 degrees have value. All right, so keep that in mind. $24.75. So here's another subtle off-center error, this time on a 99. It's unfortunate it doesn't have a wide AM variety. That would just be killer. Although there is a little couple scratches that have like an X right underneath that section, so that's kind of weird. But this one right here, a really decent candidate. It's probably 5% off-center at the most. This one sold for $14.02. So we're beginning to see even some of the more minor off-center errors begin to command a little bit more money in the secondary market. About 6 months ago, this was a $5 coin. It was just too minor. But I think because of the heightened awareness of what can be found in change, and just an overall uptick in just desirability for any type of U.S. Mint error, even the minor ones, have all contributed to a really healthy market. So, yeah, this is a really nice one here. All right, so the next three listings are all paper money. All right, so we have a 1985 $1 Federal Reserve note. As you can see, the third print, or actually all the print, is slightly misaligned on this note. Some of you will probably think, well, it's a cutting error. Well, that would normally be the case on something like this, if and only if the reverse exhibited the same cutting error. But this one is hammered, centered for the second print on the reverse. So, you know, with that being said, all right, we have a true misaligned plate error on this one. Or maybe it's the sheet that's misaligned when it was fed for the print of the first and third print. But you can even see a little sliver, a little sliver of the next note right here on the cut. But this one right here, let's see what we finished out at, 38 bucks. All right, not exactly a beauty queen pageant winner type condition note. There is a considerable amount of folds and all sorts of different wear on this note. And again, yeah, notes even in this condition, if they're worth saving and worth selling, people are going to pay the money for it. Okay, this is a legit error. Make sure that you don't overlook things like these. Same with this one. This one has a gutter fold. You can see this void right here on the right side of the note. Now, this is a 69B. It's a little bit older of a note. But again, it exhibits a lot of circulation. Gutter folds do exist on some of their newer notes, so keep that in mind. But this error occurrence happens when there's a little wrinkle in the sheet before all the stuff is printed on there. Now, on this particular note, the wrinkle is on there. The note was subsequently printed, both the first and third prints. And then on the reverse, somewhere along the line, they had stretched out the paper, all right, because here is that gutter. But you can see there is an evident print through on even the wrinkle. And so you don't see that gutter on the reverse either. So pretty cool note. This one sold for $27.80. There you go. And then finally, we have a misaligned first print. You can see the overlap of the serial numbers and the seal and all that stuff. It's shifted a good deal. This is a 77A. So the big appeal with the misaligned print is when it's overlapping other device features on the note is where you get a lot of more value from it. So you have the serial number set overlapping Washington, D.C. You have this one right here overlapping the Secretary of, that's not the Treasury. Anyways, one of the signatures. I'm blind this morning. But this one right here, again, generally overlooked. I mean, it's got that wicked like centerfold that's been folded 100 times, and then you have this horizontal fold. All right, so it's been folded in quarters a number of times, but this one right here sold for $37, and even in this condition, as you can see the back of it, there's nothing wrong with the back of the note, not giving off any indication that there is an error on here. So keep this in mind. That things like this begin to get a little sneaky if you're not looking for it. All right, brand new quarter 2017. Not brand new, fresh off the boat quarter, but it's new enough that it certainly deserves some attention in the conversation. 2017 effigy mounds, relatively recent release here. This one right here, however, exhibits a partial tilted collar. We're going to see what that looks like here momentarily, but it's a Philadelphia coin, as noted here, and then even the seller put in a little bit of an arrow to show where that railroaded edge is, right here on the reeds. So, when the coin is being struck and things are not aligned evenly between the coin or the planchet and the collar, you're going to get a tilted strike. All right, and it's going to show up as kind of like looking like the whole edge has been struck completely. All right, the collar is what provides those reeds, the grip lines on the edge of the coin. So it's not fully struck. It's going to come off looking like a railroad tie or whatever. So that's a pretty neat look. These do pop up quite frequently, actually. It's easier to see on things like dimes, quarters, and half dollars because of the reeds on there. But these do show up, and sometimes they won't look off center like this one is here. Like I have a half dollar right now that has a partial tilted collar that doesn't look off center. All right, so some of them do come up, you know, as being like a nice centered strike, but when you look at the edge, it's to show the tilted collar action there. But this one right here is sold for $20.75. Not bad for a brand new quarter. Keeping in mind, if this was in much nicer condition, like mid-state, this would probably be a $50 coin. You know, people do love in the community owning some of these newer coins that some would say, well, there couldn't be any errors on these because it's new technology. Well, that's not so. You still have people managing the machines, overseeing production, and the like. All right, so here's another off-center coin. This is not a tilted collar or a partial collar, but this one right here exhibits kind of like a minor 5 degree, 5% off-center. It's a 95 Philadelphia. This one right here is sold for $15.75. Again, this is something that you could find in a roll. This one is obviously circulated, so, you know, they are out there. Keep that in mind. All right, so this one's cool. This one is actually sold by Sullivan Numismatics. If you guys don't know who Sullivan is, he is one of the big-time error collectors. He's also a contributor to errorreference.com. So this one right here is a 2000D Lincoln cent that exhibits a double rim clip, okay, and then you even have some really nice Blakesley effect action on the opposite sides of each clip right here. So that's notable. But this one is a really nice example. You know, it's got a few carbon spots here and there, but this one did sell for 20 bucks. Okay, even money right there. That's a steal. All right, so we got a 2019 Philadelphia Lincoln Shield Cent. Not even a year old yet. So what do we got going on with this coin that you need to know about? Well, it's a doubled die. And this is DDO number 1, I believe. That's been attributed, I believe, on Variety Vista. And this is a coin that if you're able to find it, this is a good one. All right, that's relatively valuable. And it's right on par with like the value of a 2018D doubled ear. Now, the biggest point of reference for this double die is going to be Liberty. You just notice how much thicker the vertical sticks on all the letters are going to be. So the parts of the letters that run up and down are going to be noticeably fatter. I was going to say fattier, but that's really not a word. Fatter and chunkier. All right, so you don't really see notching all too well. But if you compare this coin to just a regular 2019 Philadelphia Shield Cent, you're going to see that that one is way skinnier. All right, so when you see this under a magnifier, that's going to be something that'll just knock your socks off. So I brought up the topic of a magnifier. Okay, if you guys don't have one, you definitely need a decent magnifier. I would recommend 8 to 10 times power. You don't have to get too fancy. But go ahead and check out my links below the video in the description box. I have a bunch of Amazon links for some appropriate coin collecting type of hobby needs that you need to know about. All right, so make sure you keep that in mind when you go through these, that a good magnifier is going to be paramount in your success as a treasure hunter. Oh, by the way, I don't know if I said it, but that DDO sold for $14.19. All right. Okay, so this is the only graded coin on the list, and I didn't know it until after I wrote down my notes, but it's a 1989 Lincoln cent that exhibits a pretty nice, healthy die break cut here, and you can actually see the weakness on the reverse side of the coin. But this one right here is a pretty cool coin that is sellable on its own. You don't need to grade stuff like this. This one did sell for $99.95. Let's just call it a C note for this particular video. But it would have sold for that kind of money anyways without the ICG grading. So, pretty cool. But keep an eye on all cuts on all coins. They usually affect the rim in some way. And they are visually stunning. That's for sure. Speaking of stunning, here's a, there's just enough meat on this state quarter to know that it is a South Carolina. So what is it, 2000? We don't know if it's a Philadelphia or Denver. Unfortunately, there's no min mark because this one coin was struck through a bunch of grease. There was a bunch of grease and debris on the dies when this thing was struck. But in any event, this one sold for $21. Pretty nice find. This would trip up people thinking that it's like, you know, circulation wear. It's just not the case. You could tell immediately if it's a coin struck through. Here's a 74D Jefferson nickel, this time with a nice sizable rim clip, as you can see on here. This particular coin sold for $13.45. Continuing on the tradition that this is a coin and this is an error that has been shooting up in value here in the last 3 months. Demand is just constant on this, especially on problem-free coins. Another rim clip coin. This is a double clip this time. It's pretty cool because you have them on opposite sides of the coin. So you're not going to be able to see a Blakesley effect on something like this. But this is a pretty nice high-grade specimen, 1981. Sold for $21.75. Pretty cool. All right, so this one right here, keep an eye out and just know that these coins exist. It's a 1952 Lincoln wheat cent. If you could see it right here on the top of Lincoln, you have a couple really incredible die cracks, and then you have all sorts of stuff going on. It's kind of cute because the seller referred to this as a devil's horn. And it sold for a good deal of money. And I don't know if it's because of the fact that this seller used the quote, the term devil's horn to attribute this kind of, I guess, retained die break. But it is phenomenal. And the coin in question isn't of high grade. It's probably a VF. But upon closer examination, you can see just the two cracks meeting all the way to the rim and going into his head. And then you see like a cracked skull. And, you know, it's all sorts of weird stuff going on with this coin. I actually have a few examples of this. So I might actually entertain selling it. Because it sold for $38.40. So that's a shocker there. If you come across one of these at much higher grades, you could probably, you know, get a lot more than what this one sold for. But this is the surprise pick of the week right here. It's actually, it could be construed as a spiked head or a just a, you know, couple of die cracks. The theory is with a retained die break, it has to enter and exit through the edge, but it also has to meet up somewhere. So these here might meet up at the crack of the skull right here, and that might work. I'm not sure, but this is probably attributed on cutsoncoins.com, so you can check that out. All right, we got another clip. 2005 Philadelphia, Kansas. This one is a nice deep clip right here. This one sold for $22.75. Really not a whole lot else to say. The Blakesley effect, the flatness on the opposite edge of the clip is apparent on this one. Okay, now this one is cool, only because it combines a variety with an error. So you get the best of both worlds, but this is a 2000 Lincoln Memorial cent that is not only off-center by about 10%, but also is a wide AM. How cool is that? You can actually see just enough of A and M in America to know that there's a pretty sizable gap, therefore making it the transitional reverse on this one. This one sold, get this, for $153.75. A best offer was accepted on this coin. All right, pretty cool. Really nice coin right here. All right, so this is going to be more of a case of photography and just knowing what you have. Now, this coin is beat up. Lots of things going on here that aren't exactly desirable to a collector. However, this coin, which exhibits no date because, you know, that upon the seller's examination of the description, is a strike through, like a struck through grease, which it could be. But based off of what I'm seeing here on a lot of the the corrosion and other things happening on this coin, it's a zinc. It's a zinc penny, so these are going to corrode a lot faster than regular coppers. But this one right here did sell for $31, which just seems high to me for a coin in this condition. So, I don't know. Call it what it is. Like, you know, that there's a buyer for every coin, but this one I would probably have avoided at all costs because struck through coins of this type do exist quite frequently on the secondary market. More so on nicer graded examples that can be had for close to what this money is right here. All right, we got more rim clip action, this time on a 74 candy half dollar. Pretty nice. We got a double clip, and this one brought home a nice, easy, stout $38.63. It's looking like a tank of gas to me right there, so not too bad. Again, probably overlooked by a lot of people that search through these rolls. I mean, this one is kind of hard to miss because you have big old shark bites of the coin on this one, and yeah, these are worth it to put aside, believe me. This one's cool. 62D Lincoln Memorial cent on the obverse. We got a nice sizable strike through. Probably a lot of grease and debris. You can see part of truss still on there as well. But these do pop up on occasion. This one is a bigger size one. Okay, usually you'll see some probably about a quarter of the size. You know, it could be anywhere on the coin, on the reverse, on the obverse. And usually when it's this deep, okay, it's a hardened piece of grease with other debris action on there. But this one sold for $20.75. All right, so we got a couple of inexpensive errors and varieties. Take a note, 1960D, large date, and 56D are the two big dates that you can find RPMs in large quantities. There's a multitude of different RPM types for both dates, dozens of them, and a lot of them are pretty nice too. This one is a great example of that. This is a D over D. The secondary D is south of the primary D mint mark on this one. This one is also RPM 56 for all of you guys out there taking notes. Pretty nice. Under magnification, you can see this easily. Again, that magnifier is going to be important as you search through these coins. This one sold for $7, right? Which is 700 times more than face value. Let that sink in. All right, so here's a newer 2017 Philadelphia Jefferson nickel. The coin is circulated. I mean, as you can see, it is. It's got little nicks and scratches all over the place, fingerprint. But on the reverse, we have some pretty nice die chips right here on the not only left side, but the right side of Monticello, or Monticello, however you want to call it. And it's worth flipping these coins over to see if these are on there, especially your Philadelphia minted coins. These come up quite frequently, and if you're able to find a number of them, you could sell a number of them in a lot and make quite a bit of money. Now, this is a singular coin sale right here. You can see the right side chips, which that's not supposed to be there, by the way. But this one sold for only $2.50. All right, so that's why a quantity sale of these type of coins would be more important. You could sell 10 of them for 25, 30 bucks, and you'll just make more money that way rather than selling one coin. So we have a few more coins on the list, and this is another, again, like I mentioned on the 1960D RPM, this is a 56D over D RPM. And what we have here is a really nice cherry picker's guide variety. You can see the other D overlapping the primary D, or vice versa. But this one here is a cherry picker's guide. This is actually a very common RPM to find. So when you do come across these branch mint earlier wheat cents, make sure you get a close look, because you might be surprised by something like this. Sold for $15.45. Quite a bit of value here. All right, so this is my one, I guess, foreign coin contribution to the list. Of course, Canada pennies are still out there in spite of the fact that they've stopped producing these, and the banks are kind of holding on to them for destruction, I suppose. But this one is off center, probably 5%. But this one sold for $36.99. All right, and it's not the greatest condition, but there are error collectors specific to Canadian coinage that will certainly pay up for coins like this. They're just not seen as often as they used to be. And then finally, we're going to end it off on a huge, huge sale of a raw 1897 Indian head cent. Less about the condition on this one, but more so about the variety that exists that people are just dogpiling over each other to find. And this is the one in neck misplaced date variety. This is also Snow 1 in the Cherry Picker's Guide. Very nice attributable coin. This one is just a high grade specimen. I would have to say this is a cherry pick at some point because it's not even graded. So this one right here sold for $700. Holy crap, that's a great deal of money. And a great, great sale too. Very nice to see coins like this sell on the secondary market, as it's just continuously just being hot as it is. So what do you guys think? Are you guys ready to go jump into some coins this weekend? I certainly hope that you guys find some really nice stuff out there. Stuff that you can really either add to your collection or make a few bucks in the process. As you can see, I featured hundreds of dollars in coins. And you go through enough coins, you're going to be able to monetize on stuff like this. So I want to thank you guys for joining in. Sorry to keep the video so long, but we had 30 coins to talk about in this one. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Hit that bell for instant notification. And I am your host, Sean, again with BlueRidgeSilverhound, thanking you and appreciating all of the support and views. As always, Coinaholics, we are discovering together, and I hope you discover yours too. I will see you on the next coin video. You guys take care. Have a good weekend.